Well, hello, Forest Meadow. I just want to welcome you to another episode of Reflections, and we hope that you guys are able to grow deeper into the rich soil of the Scriptures. And once again, we want to just encourage you guys to go through these things with your family, with your children, with your friends, with your small group, or simply alone with God in prayer. And let's dive in. Let's consider some of the things that we talked about on Sunday, and as we reflect upon Peter, one of the things that we talked about is how Peter, he really did seek to obey a command from the Lord. And it was not just a normal command, it was an impossible command. Jesus did say, "Come." And Peter, he got out of the boat and he came towards Jesus. And it just causes me to wonder what would happen. What if God called us to do something that seemed impossible to us by all human standards? I wonder, would we do it? And it causes me to reflect even further that it must, at some point in time, it must simply be enough that the Lord promises to be with us. You know, it's really not right for us to require more from God than simply His presence in order to obey. It reminds me of the Israelites. We won't go if you don't go with us, or rather Moses. I won't go if you don't come. You have to come, Lord. We also looked at how Jesus calls Peter in order to test him, in order to reveal many things about his life. You know, as we reflect upon our own lives, these tests are often very difficult. They often reveal much weakness. They reveal things like pride. They reveal things like selfishness, like doubt, like fear, and areas where we just don't trust God. You know, and just as a reminder, God disciplines us as His children. He tests us as His children, and this is a good thing. It reminds me of a quote that only the things that are precious to God are tested so thoroughly. You know, God would not allow this without good reason, but because you, child of God, are precious to Him, He does allow you to go through these things rather than leaving you as you are. We looked at how Peter cried out to the Lord when he sank. And I want to think about this from the disciples' perspective. This really did serve them because they had the opportunity to learn from Peter. Remember, they're watching this whole situation unfold. Their hearts are still probably pounding out of their chest from thinking they've seen a ghost. And they're learning not only from Peter's strengths, but also from his weakness. You know, and in a similar way, when we cry out to Jesus during times of doubt or fear or trouble or angst, you know, we have the opportunity to teach those who are around us, perhaps our children. We have the opportunity to even lead them. Let's remind ourselves that it's not just one person who has weakness. Each one of us has moments of weakness. And those who are around us, usually our family or close friends, they already know what our weaknesses are. And even in these times of trouble, we have the opportunity to direct other people to Jesus, whether they're our children, our spouses, our co-workers, our employees, our neighbors. We have the opportunity to point them in the right direction. You know, Peter doubted. We looked at how Peter doubted the Lord and therefore he sank. And I want to remind us that our faith, or our lack thereof, it does affect how we experience God and even how we experience the miraculous things of God. When Peter believed, he walked on water. When Peter doubted, he sank. You know, this one thought, it causes me to wonder how much our unbelief affects our lives, how it affects our experience of God's presence. He doesn't leave us, but we experience Him in powerful ways sometimes, but it makes me wonder how it affects our feeling of His presence, our sense of His presence. I wonder how it affects our prayers. And just as an exhortation, you know, it's better for us to confess our unbelief rather than insisting that we don't have any doubts. You know, confession, if you wrestle with unbelief, this is a good place to meet the Lord. Bring it before Him, and He'll work on it. Well, some other questions that we have for this week. Number one, why did Peter recognize Jesus' voice but not His appearance? Number two, why did Peter ask for permission to go out on the water? Number 3, why did Peter even want to get out of the boat in the first place? Why did he think he should be walking on water? That's a good question. Let me know your thoughts. We don't really know, but I'm curious your thoughts. Number 4, how do we know that we are hearing the voice of God? Number 5, what is Peter's desire in this situation? And number 6, why do we struggle to be bold even in our private prayer with God? Number 7, what do we think it means when our prayers are not answered? What do you think it means? And then, as a second part of that question, what does it really mean? Look at the Bible and let me know what your thoughts are. Number 8, why did Jesus ask Peter why he doubted? And what exactly was Peter doubting? Was it himself? Was it the Lord? Was it his ability? Number 9, why was Jesus testing Peter? And what would it mean to pass or fail this test? Number 10, what practical things can we do to keep ourselves walking towards Jesus rather than sinking in unbelief? Number 11, what distractions in our lives are drowning out God's voice? Number 12, this is a deep question. In which area of your life do you need to replace doubt with active obedience? Replace doubt with active obedience. Boy, that's a profound thought right there. Well, that's all the time that we have, but just as a teaser for this next week, Isaac Parks will be speaking for Palm Sunday. And so we invite you, please come and join us as we celebrate the triumphal entry of the King. Let's prepare our hearts to celebrate. And then, of course, let's remember that we have a Good Friday service coming up. It's going to be 7 p.m. on the Friday before Easter. And so we invite you guys to please come and join us for that time. And also, we want to just thank you for joining us today. And that's all the time we have for today. And we hope that you have a great day. Thanks.